Okay, fight fans, hold on tight, because I'm about to tell you some crazy boxing stories that will blow your mind. You won't believe what I'm hearing about Floyd Mayweather and the young knockout star Gervanta Davis. This is the stuff that makes the whole fight game go crazy, so let's dive right in. There are rumors that some of the greatest boxing legends are warning Floyd Mayweather not to fight Tank Davis. These aren't just any fighters. They are icons of the sport who have experienced and mastered the art of fighting. Apparently, they're all saying the same thing: Floyd should stay far away from a possible fight with Davis.
So Tank is kind of it's kind of the same thing maybe, because, he's too close to Floyd. Floyd's like, no, I'm the best. No, now it's no longer Floyd's time. It's Tank's time now. He's the best. He's done well. He's powerful. He's all this. You gotta take a step back a little bit. But for Floyd, I don't know if he knows how to do that.
I think Floyd made a mistake. He honored his word. He's a man of his word. He's an honorable man. But I think he made a big mistake. And I think the fighter you're going to see enter the ring is going to blow your minds. That's what I believe. I believe he's going to shock the world and blow your minds. That's what I believe.
We gonna come on record and say this. Okay. Out of all these guys in the history of boxing,
yes,
I've accomplished more than every fighter in the history of boxing.
You mean as far as win, as far as undefeated, as far as belts, as far as prize money?
I mean, you tell me, and I'll tell you, and I'll say, and I'll tell you why. Tell me something, and I'll tell you why.
He felt as though I'm at that point where as though I passed him. And I'm doing it at a young age. Like when Floyd was 29, you'll see, bro.
Yeah.
That deal that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that's a part of the deal.
He don't know about that yet. But that's bigger than his deal.
About new deal, 7-fight deal, which is music to the ears of many boxing fans. You get to see you in action for several more years. What type of names are we talking about on those 7 names?
Whoever you name, they could be in it.
If I name some fighters, can you say yes or no?
Yep.
Shakur Stevenson.
Yep.
Ryan Garcia.
Yep.
Devin Haney.
Yep.
Isaac Cruz.
Yeah, but there's 2 people I already beat already, but yeah.
Errol Spence.
Outside the ring.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. Yeah, September, November.
Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
Out of all of those guys, who do you think's the most difficult opponent for you?
Floyd Mayweather.
Out of the active guys, who's the most difficult opponent?
I don't even know, bruh.
How do you feel about Floyd and Tank beefing online?
I see it a little bit. Yeah, I like both guys, so it's like, I know Gervanta has his issues with Floyd, and Floyd has a big ego where he wants to be the man on top, and Gervanta trying to get on top, but it seems like he has to get from under Floyd because Floyd's a big man. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard. It kind of reminds me of me and my son. Like I kind of like got myself away and let him do his own thing and let him have his own glory, his own glory, his own life. You know what I'm saying? So me being there all the time will shadow over all this stuff. Sometimes, not intentionally. I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm not trying to be like, I don't care about the Eagles. I want him to be the best.
When I first heard this, I thought it was just another crazy rumor. Floyd Mayweather has never lost a professional fight, is a defensive genius, and has made a career out of making world-class fighters look bad. Surely he wouldn't be afraid of anyone, but the more I look into this story, the more captivating it becomes. So here's what I'm hearing. In a private conversation behind closed doors, a group of boxing legends were talking about the possibility of a Mayweather-Davis fight. And let me tell you, they didn't hold back. These veteran fighters said that Floyd would be making the biggest mistake of his career if he fought Davis. You might be wondering why these legends are so worried. Well, it comes down to 2 things. Tank's explosive power in his youth. Rumor has it that these old school fighters think Tank's ferocious punching power could be too much for the 47-year-old Mayweather to handle. They're supposedly concerned that even Floyd's legendary defensive skills might not be enough to keep him safe from Tank's devastating hooks and uppercuts. But it's not just about Tank's power. These boxing are allegedly worried about the age factor. Let's face it, Floyd isn't getting any younger. He's been retired from professional boxing for years now, and while he's still in incredible shape, there's a world of difference between being fit and being ready to face one of the most dangerous young fighters in the world. The word is that these legends think Father Time might finally catch up with Floyd if he steps in the ring with Tank. Now here's where it gets really juicy. These same boxing icons reportedly believe that Mayweather's ego might be pushing him toward this dangerous fight. They're allegedly worried that Floyd's desire to prove he's still the best could be clouding his judgment. I mean, can you imagine the drama if this actually goes down? It's like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. But let's take a step back for a second and think about why these legends would even bother speaking up. I've got to say, hearing about these icons stepping up to voice their concerns really shows how much respect they have for Mayweather's legacy. It's like they're trying to protect one of their own. You know, they've seen countless fighters stay in the game too long and tarnish their legacies, and they don't want to see that happen to Floyd at the same time. Though it's a huge testament to how feared Tank Davis has become in the boxing world. Think about it. They've been in a lot of fights and are genuinely worried about what Tanks could do to one of the best defensive fighters of all time. Let's be honest for a second, a fight between Mayweather and Tank would be huge. The rumors about it are already through the roof, and the fight itself hasn't even been officially talked about yet. It's the kind of fight that boxing promoters dream of. But these boxing legends are reportedly saying it's not worth the risk for Floyd Mayweather. They're worried that a loss to Tank could ruin Mayweather's perfect record, and let's face it, Floyd's perfect record is a big part of his legacy. It's what makes him stand out from other greats. It could be very bad to lose that perfect record, especially to a younger attacker like Tank. I have to say that hearing about all the drama behind the scenes has kept me on the edge of my seat. It's like a real-life Rocky story. The old champion is losing his title, and a young lion is trying to take his place. It's the stuff that boxing legends are made of, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just a fight. It's the changing of the guard in boxing. But here's the million-dollar question. Will Mayweather listen to these warnings? Or will his competitive spirit push him to take on this incredibly dangerous fight? Not sure about you, but I can't wait to see how this all turns out now. Let's look into why this possible fight is so scary for boxing professionals. First, we need to talk about Tank Davis and why he's such a scary prospect for any opponent, let alone a 47-year-old Mayweather. Tank Davis isn't just any young contender. This kid is an absolute wrecking ball in the ring. He's got the kind of explosive power that can end a fight in the blink of an eye. We're talking about a guy who's knocked out 26 of his 29 opponents. That's a staggering 90% knockout ratio, and it's not like he's been fighting tomato cans. Either Tank has taken out some serious competition, including multiple world champions, but it's not just Tank's power that makes him so dangerous. The kid's got serious skills too. He's got lightning fast hands, great footwork, and a boxing IQ well beyond his years in a lot of ways. He's like a younger, more aggressive version of Floyd himself, and that's what's got these boxing legends are so worried. They're allegedly saying that Tank is the worst possible matchup for Floyd at this stage of his career. They point out that Floyd's style has always relied heavily on his reflexes and ability to avoid punches, but at 47, even if those reflexes are still incredible, they're not what they once were, and against a puncher like Tank, even the slightest decline could be catastrophic. These legends are supposedly arguing that Floyd's defensive wizardry might not be enough to keep Tank at bay for a full 12 rounds. Their one big shot could be all it takes to end Floyd's undefeated streak, but it's not just about the physical risks. These boxing grats are also allegedly concerned about the mental aspect of the fight. They're saying that Floyd, being the competitor he is, might try to prove a point by standing and trading with Tank, and that they fear could be a recipe for disaster. Now let's talk about Floyd for a minute. There's no denying that he's one of the greatest fighters to ever lace up a pair of gloves. His record speaks for itself: 50 wins, 0 losses, with wins over some of the biggest names in boxing. His defensive skills are the stuff of legend. I mean, this is a guy who made world-class fighters look like amateurs in the ring. But here's the thing, Floyd's last professional fight was way back in 2017 against Conor McGregor. Sure, he's had a few exhibition bouts since then, but those aren't the same as facing a hungry young lion like Tank Davis in a real professional fight. And that's what's got these legends so worried. They're allegedly saying that Floyd's long layoff from professional boxing could be a major factor if he decides to take on Tank ring. Rust is a real thing, and it can affect even the greatest fighters. These boxing icons are supposedly concerned that Floyd might not be able to shake off that rust quickly enough against a dangerous opponent like Tank. Now let's talk about why this fight is so tempting for Floyd, despite all these warnings. First off, there's the money. A fight between Mayweather and Tank would be an absolute goldmine. We're talking possibly record-breaking pay-per-view numbers, massive gate earnings, sponsorship deals, the works for a guy who calls himself Money, Mayweather. That's got to be awfully tempting, but it's not just about the cash. There's also the matter of Floyd's legacy. Right now, he's widely considered one of the greatest boxers of all time, if not the greatest, but there are always critics who point to his careful selection of opponents. Especially later in his career, a win over a young prime Tank Davis would silence those critics once and for all. It would be the ultimate proof that Floyd truly is the best ever capable of beating anyone at any time. And let's not forget about Floyd's competitive spirit. This is a guy who's built his entire identity around being the best around, never losing the idea of proving himself against the new generation of boxers by showing that he's still the top dog, even in his late 40s. That's got to be incredibly appealing to someone like Floyd. But here's where it gets really interesting. These boxing legends are apparently saying that this competitive drive and his desire to prove himself could be Floyd's downfall. They're worried that he might be overestimating himself and underestimating Tank. They fear that Floyd might think he can still fight the same way he did in his prime without counting for the effects of age and inactivity. Now let's talk about what a fight between Mayweather and Tank might actually look like on paper. It's an intriguing matchup you've got. Floyd's tactical genius against Tank's explosive offense, Floyd's skills in ring IQ against Tank's youth and hunger. It's the kind of fight that boxing purists dream about. But these legends are supposedly saying that the reality might be very different from what Floyd envisions. They're worried that Tank pressure and power might be too much for Floyd to handle over the course of a full fight. They fear that even if Floyd starts strong, using his defensive skills to frustrate Tank, the younger fighter's relentless attack would eventually wear him down. There's also the question of weight. Floyd's best fighting weight in recent years has been around 147,150 pounds. Tank, on the other hand, has been fighting at a lightweight 135 pounds and a super lightweight 140 pounds. These boxing greats are allegedly concerned that if Floyd has to come down in weight to meet Tank, it could further compromise his ability to withstand Tank's power. But here's the thing, despite all these warnings, there's a part of me that can't help but get excited about the chance of this fight. I mean, come on, it's Floyd. Money Mayweather is one of the best to ever do it against Gervanta Tank. Davis is possibly the next big thing in boxing. It's old school versus new school, experience versus youth, defense versus offense. It's the kind of matchup that fight fans dream about, and let's be real, if anyone could pull off the seemingly impossible, it's Floyd Mayweather. This is a guy who's made a career out of proving doubters wrong, of rising to every challenge put in front of him. Who's to say he couldn't do it one more time, even against someone as dangerous as Tank Davis? But at the same time, I can't help but think about what these boxing legends are allegedly saying. These are guys who know the sport inside and out, who've seen countless fighters push themselves too far and pay the price. If they're genuinely concerned about Floyd taking this fight, that's something we've got to take seriously. So one of the most epic boxing sagas in recent memory, will Floyd heed these alleged warnings and stay retired, preserving his undefeated record and legendary status? Or will he risk it all for one last shot at glory, taking on the young lion Tank Davis in a fight for the ages? And what about Tank? Is he really ready to step up and challenge one of the greatest boxers of all time? These are the questions that are buzzing around the boxing world right now, and let me tell you, fight fans are divided. Some are saying Floyd should stay retired, that he's got nothing left to prove and everything to lose. Others are itching to see him back in the ring, arguing that a win over Tank would cement his status as the greatest of all time. As for me, well, I'm just excited to see this all play out, whether Floyd decides to take the fight or not. This whole situation is shining a spotlight on the current state of boxing. It's highlighting the changing of the guard that's happening in the sport, with young stars like Tank Davis rising up to challenge the old order. And who knows, maybe all this talk will lead to something even bigger. Maybe it'll spark a conversation about other dream matchup we'd love to see. Or maybe it'll inspire other boxing legends to step up and share their thoughts on the current state of the sport. One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. In the coming weeks and months, we'll be keeping a close eye on both Floyd Mayweather and Tank Davis. We'll be watching for any signs that this fight might actually happen, or any indications that Floyd's taking these alleged warnings to heart. So stay tuned, fight fans, whether this dream match becomes a reality or remains a stuff of rumor and speculation. One thing's for certain, the boxing world is buzzing like never before, and isn't that what makes this sport so great? The drama, the speculation, the endless debates about who would win, and why it's all part of what makes boxing the sweet science. In the end, Only time will tell how this story plays, but one thing is for sure, we'll be here bringing you all the latest news, rumors, and speculation as it happens. I mentioned many details of this saga, but there's something else very huge that is happening in the way of this fight. So check out this deep dive where I'll tell you other rumors that are buzzing in the boxing community. You will learn new shocking claims that are attracting people's attention. Click on the screen to watch the deep dive, and thank you for watching this video.